A new wave of bombings has ripped through the commercial districts of Iraqi capital, killing at least 20 people. That's as the country's bloodless army could be preparing to attack and recapture Fallujah after an Al-Qaeda-linked group gained foothold there. Let's get more now from RT's Paula Sleer. She joins us live. So, Paula, what steps is Baghdad taking to retake Fallujah?
Well, Islamic elements with Al-Qaeda links have overrun the Iraqi cities of Fallujah and Ramadi, and thousands of residents are fleeing these areas as government forces launch airstrikes and fire artillery shells. The Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki has vowed that government forces will not leave this area until all these extremist elements are, to quote him, eliminated. But he does admit that for now, the government has lost control in these cities. In recent days, the militants received a boost as they were joined in their fight against the Baghdad government by Sunni tribesmen. And what is interesting is that it marks a change from the years prior to the US withdrawal, when major Sunni tribes turned against Al-Qaeda. What we're witnessing now is that they're joining forces with these Al-Qaeda groups against the Shiite-led government. Now, the American administration has been slammed for creating this situation. There are many who predicted that once the US forces withdrew from Iraq, there would be a vacuum that would be created and that this would be filled with extremist elements. The US Secretary of State, John Kerry, has promised support for the Baghdad government, but he has ruled out the possibility of boots on the ground. He has said that the US would not send troops back to that country. To quote Kerry, he says that this fight is the fight of the Baghdad government.
RT's Paula Sleer reporting live on these latest developments coming out of Iraq and the violence going on across the country. Thanks, Paula. Well, Adam Kokesh fought in Fallujah during the U.S.-led campaign. He thinks that the dire security situation was the inevitable result.
I've come a long way since my time in Fallujah in 2004 and been able to step back, and I've been involved in a lot of various efforts here in the United States to help fellow veterans out with PTSD and things like that. So it's incredible to see that a lot of the predictions that those of us who understood what the war was about at least figured it out when we got home, coming true now. Because when you understand the nature of war as a racket, you understand the true motivations behind the United States invasion and occupation, when you understand what kind of puppet government was installed in Iraq, you understand that it was really only a matter of time before this happened.
Iraqi lawyer Sabah al-Mukhtar says the country's prime minister and his cabinet have completely failed to save the country from ruin.
He hasn't been able to stop the terrorist acts which has been taking the lives of the civilians in Baghdad. He is now accusing the Qaeda, which is somewhere else, that being the one who is causing it. The government in Baghdad is totally incapable of controlling even Baghdad itself, except that the people there are being put in very tight spot because the government is allowing people to go around beating anybody who comes out in the street or even raising their voices. This is really a tragedy, but the problem is not there. The problem is that the governments of the world and the international media seems to swallow this idea that somehow what is happening is that this is a fight against Al-Qaeda, when in fact it isn't.
On our website, we're running a project dedicated to keeping tally of the violence in Iraq, especially the human cost.